And today we are going to discuss block 4, that is marketing mix. Dear friends, in the previous classes we have discussed about tourism marketing and its different phenomena, tourism marketing and its different facets, how to facilitate the marketing system in a dynamic way. Therefore, it is included the marketing research we may talk about and the role of the local bodies, both the private as well as the government. And today we are going to discuss to make the marketing system or the tourism marketing more viable. Therefore, our discussion is concerned that is called the marketing mix. It can be discussed under certain parameters, like you may talk about the marketing mix can be studied under the product designing, and we are going to discuss about the pricing strategies, the promotion strategies, distribution strategies, and last but not the least, we are going to discuss about the fifth P. And in this context, we want to talk about the first bit. We are talking about the product designing. So, in this context difference, we are going to discuss a certain major objectives. What is product and how product is required to make design, because it is a fact we want to talk about to make the marketing system more active and more live. Therefore, in all over the world, every country now comes forward to sell the product. So when to talk of the product, we see generally it can be split, it can be categorized under two. So one is when we talk of the product, very simple to say, which generally we use or the customer, the consumers use for his personal needs or to mitigate the needs and the desires of the person, the individual, what the things he used, we call it the product. But in another way, we may talk about the tourism product, very simple to say. In tourism product, we see it is called the destination, the tourist destinations, which cannot be purchased just like the basic needs of the individual in context to the materials. For example, when we talk about the basic needs starting from in the morning, we may talk about starting from the toothpaste, toothbrush, and the tongue cleaner is the product. This is the beginning of the mankind, beginning of the human being who starts his life in the morning. Till when we talk about the where, till the night as you means, everything in a day what human being is used for his servitudes, for his survival, we call it the product. But whenever we talk about the tourist product or the product in a tourism, it cannot be exactly sold. Suppose we may talk about the Taj Mahal in context to India as a touristic product. We're talking the Fatehpur Sikri, or we may talk the Great Wall of the China. We may talk about the Unit of the Liberty, or the Statue of the Liberty, the Statue of the Unity in India. So these are the tourist destinations, the tourist products. It can be purchased, it can be sold. But what we purchase by giving the tickets, whenever we are coming to any heritage sites of the world, we are paying some taxes, and that tax, through that tax, what we purchase? Simply we purchase the knowledge that we may talk about not in form of the materials, but in form of the knowledge, soft skill achievements, in form of the social behavior, in form of the social management, in form of the management and the planning. So in this regard, we are talking about the tourist product, but it is the high time, dear friends. Whenever we are talking about the product designing, it's quite essential because it should be more convenient to the consumers, more convenient to the customers. And keeping in view of the product designing, there are certain objectives we are going to highlight. Keeping in view for major objectives. The product is designed. One is that you must keep in mind, your friends. That is define a product. Number two, explain the various stages involved in a product development and identify the factors that influence product formulation in the tourism and understand the importance of the product positioning. It is the fact when to talk about the product, it is the first to know what is the product. Second, we may know the level of the product. And the second objective we talk about, there are the different stages of the product. Product is not the immediate outcome, rather we talk about it is a process. Product is a process, is not the immediate reactions we may talk about. If we may talk about the product, simply we are talking, that is called the aluminium or the aluminium materials as a product, if we talk about it. There are so many products. If you may talk in case of in Odisha, in India, there is, I'm talking about the alumina. At Damanjodi, there is the alumina companies. And that alumina is collected from the bauxite through a process. And that alumina reached at the Angul of Odisha in India, where we are getting the aluminium. Now, in this regard, we may talk about there are certain stages of the product development. And third, as you means, so many factors also responsible. Why a company or the entrepreneur, the organizers, the planners, they want to produce the best product. It is only because of the demand of the people, demand of the consumers, demand of the customers, or we talk about the demand of the target market. And in this point of view, we may talk about there are certain factors responsible. And the fourth point we may discuss, that is called importance of the product positioning. If we talk about it today in 2023 and in all over the world today, actually. So there is the position, the determination of the product that you must keep in mind. Each and every product has its own identity. Each and every product has its own positions in the society. Why? Because when to talk about in today in all over the world, there is more than 700 million population. And each and every individual has its own thoughts, has its own approach, has its own requirement, has its own needs. We never say that every individual's need is equal. So according to the need of the people, the producers produce the product, and therefore the product has its own identity in context to the human requirement. This is all about the objectives, what we are going to discuss on the basis of it. Now, coming to, dear friends, we're talking about the next one, that is called what is uh, defining product. Just a second. There are some problems. I think the yeah. Dear friends, we are going to discuss about the product. Very simple to say. Product is one of the four basic elements in the market mix. When we are talking about the market mix exactly we mean the interpretation of the product through certain paraphernalia, certain parameters. We call it the market mix or we call it the marketing mix because it requires the scores of responsibilities starting from the leverer to the engineers, starting from the marketing personnel to the customers. So if we talk about a market mix, it's such a concept through which a large scale, large number of the people are involved. And it is the fact to talk about the market mix, and its most important part, when we talk of the integral part of the market mix, that is the product. And another important thing is here difference. Keeping in view of the customer's demands, marketing is meaningless. If there is no demands of the customers, if there is no requirements of the consumers and the customers, then there is the product is meaningless. And in this context, we see keeping in view of the customer's demand, the marketing manager devised the product. And it is the fact it should be. And unless and until that is the core responsibilities, that is the skill of the manager, marketing manager, that to look after the market. The product has its own identity, we have already discussed. But what the customers demands, if we may talk about it, cost is not the matter. Though it is a matter, but still then the customers demand is materialized the cost. And in this context, we are talking about the customers' demands. Keeping in view of the customers' demand, the customers' need, the customer's requirement, the marketing manager devise the product. And it may be the product can be devised in form of its cost, in it's a form of the packaging, it's a form of the designing, it's a form of the shape, it's a forms of means the weight. For example, I'm talking about the soap. How the marketing manager defines a product like the soap of the synthal achievements. So it is the fact that it is strategy because the marketing manager always looking after the shackles of the customers. Exactly what the customers want to have it. What is the demands of the customers? So from that point of view, we also have gone through in the market regarding the synthal sabun, the soap achievements. So for your information, from time to time, it is varied in its price, it is varied in its cost, it is varied in its size, its weight, and we talk with the packaging system. Only because of it to attract the customers, to attract the consumers. And another aspect that is most important, it is considered here the specific attention is given to the customer's expectation and capable to pay. Suppose you may talk about, if you may talk about in the market in all over the world, Louis Phillips suppose a dress we are talking about. It is a product. And that is the question is here in the market, what is the expectation of the customers? If the customers expected the best quality, the best product at the cheapest cost, that should be taken care of by the producers, by the company, by the marketing managers. And in this regard, when to talk about the intro is concerned, the specific attention is given to the customer's expectation, what he wants, what the customer desires. And if a company could able to fulfill the customer's desire, yes, there is the possibilities of the sustainability of the goods, the sustainability of the marketing system or meta product. The same things happen here when we are talking about the tourism industry. In the tourism marketing also, what a customer expects, yes, it is a fact, it is a common tendency. Suppose a customer, a tourist is spending the money, the ultimate is to get the peace, ultimate is to get the attractions, ultimately he get to the values, the tranquility, and we might talk about the fun, entertainment, and we might talk about the tourist attraction or the destination is the means to relax the stress management. And it is the fact that is the expectation. And also a tourist always wants to reach at a destination without facing any kind of the troubles and a kind of the obstacles. So if you may keep in mind, these are the intros, and we must keep in mind that the product is quite important whenever we talk about the market mix is concerned. Now, dear friends, we are going to discuss about what is a product. So, for your information, if we talk about general product, we mean anything can be offered in a market, It may be the large market, it may be the small market. It may be the urban markets, or we talk of the local markets, or we may call it the intra-regional markets. So generally, marketing a product will mean anything can be offered in a market that is for the use or the consumption by the customers as per the market requirement. We call it a product. Product always tries to mitigate the demands of the customers to fulfill the desires of the customers. And for example, if I talk about which difference, that is a beach resort is a tourism product. And here, the purpose of the beach resort is as a product, the consumption and the use of the tourists. However, a beach resort attracts the tourists. However, a beach resort attracts the tourist for its utility. It may be the interregional, regional, or we talk about national and international. So every tourist wants to consume. What to consume? Consume the tourist destinations, not in form of the materials, but in form of the mental as well as the physical satisfactions. So now coming to what is the product we see. After that, we are going to discuss about the definition of the product. And for your information, dear friends, when we are talking about the definition of the product, yes, according to Philip Kotler, he has pointed out that what is the product. A product is anything that can be offered to a market for attention, acquisition, and use or consumption that might satisfy a want or need. So Kotler has very rightly pointed out that every good in a good which can satisfy, which can mitigate the demands of the customers for the consumption purposes, we call it the product. And he says, Philip Kotler further says that there are five levels of product that marketers should take into the consideration. And when we may talk about the five stages, five levels, the level one, we may talk about the core benefit. Every product has its own core product. Here, it means the fundamental service or benefit being through by the customers. So that is called the core benefit. Core benefit means whenever the product reached at the customers. At the meantime, we may talk about there is the five basic core element. First one is the core benefit. That we may talk about the generic product. The third, we may talk about expected product. Then fourth, we may talk about the augmented product. And the fifth one is the potential product. And friends, when we talk about the core benefits, yes, we must keep in mind that is, this is the fundamentals, as you know, and it is not the marked as you means. I'm talking about you, friends. The core benefits, the first one. What happened here? This is the fundamental service or benefit begin but by the customer. Yes, it is the fact that unless and until to buy a product, a customer's desires cannot be fulfilled. So if you may talk in the world, 700 people, they all are considered as the subaltern groups. And we may talk about the difference that is called the core benefit groups. And the core benefit groups, we came to know that it is the fundamental service to the benefits being belong by the customer. Second, we are talking about the friends. For your information, that is called the generic product. And whenever we were talking about the generic product, yes, the marketer converts the core benefits. When we talk about the core benefits, what are the services involved, indulged by the marketing executives or the marketeers? And here we must keep in mind it must bring the benefit of the customers. If the customer is satisfied, there is the possibility of the growth of the other departments. And in this regard, we must keep in mind that is called the generic product. And here the marketer converts the core benefit into the basis version of the product. In this regard, dear friends, I'm talking about it is a term as the generic product, and we're talking about the expected product. The expected product exactly means the customers generally expects a set of attributes and conditions while making a purchase. And if the individuals, or we may talk about if the marketeers, meets these expectations, it is found as the expected product. So we're talking about the product needs to be expensive or the accepted product if very simple to see your friends, if it could able to mitigate the demands of the customers particularly. And in the same way, we're talking about the augmented product. Very simple to talk, a product is developed through a process, and there are some additional services also required. For example, if we may talk about the mobile phone, I'm just passing before you an example, and that is called we're taking the example. What I may talk about augmented products in context two. We're talking about the product can be developed with such additional services. I'm talking about every product there is some additional services. What is the additional services? If we are talking about, dear friends, the television, mobile phone as the product, yes, it has it has some. I'm talking about the additional services. For example, we are getting the mobile phones not need to go to the troubles like may talk about the accidents, may talk about the clumsies, or the if may talk about Bhubaneswar, in 7 o'clock we came to know that it is so crowded. So whenever we talk about the augmented product, that you must keep in mind, it requires certain paraphernalias, certain tertiary, or we may talk about the elementary services. And a product is termed as the augmented. Here the product is known as the augmented product. So now, dear friends, we are talking about the potential product. This is the last but not the least, and it is the fact when we are talking about the potential product, that product has the more sustainability, the more longevity, and in that context, the other subs other day-to-day activities of mankind or the requirements. If he or she is purchasing any goods with a high cost, now having one, then having two, then having three, then four, and a time will come people cannot give the potentials, or the people cannot give their efforts to the potential product. And when to talk about a difference in evolution of the augmented product in future. This is why very simple to say the organizations such as the news media, and I may talk about the news media of the printed press, journals and press, and I may talk about the government of India. So in this context, dear friends, we see the product is required. If once a product is made with the sense of holistic approach, then 100% sure it helps to lead the better one. So whenever we talk about in the tourism sector, how far the level 1 is concerned and level 2 is concerned. So dear friends, now we are going to discuss public level tourism, product level tourism. We are talking about reference the product level tourism. The first bit, when to talk about the product level tourism, it can be studied. There are the 5 major levels. Level 1, when to talk about in the tourism sector, also these 5 basic. Yes, difference. I'm talking about the level 1, that is called the core benefit of the product. And in tourism, it deals with the travel. A tourist may be regional, may be inter-regional, may be national or the international. Every tourist wants the first to have the refreshment means. And in the tourism sector, we must say that level one, that is called the travel, from where the tourist travels. Whether it is at the regional level, the tourist travels from the Cuttack to Bhubaneswar or Khordha. So now question comes in context to the bit one, travel is the beginning when to talk about the core benefits of the tourists. That is called the travel benefit. And another one we're talking about the tourist coach. The tourist coach, generally the tourists, they can travel with the best. It is not on the basis of the friends I'm talking about. It is not on the basis of the territorial one. I'm talking about it. That is called in the tourism market information difference. We are talking about that is called the travel. Travel is quite important. If travel is comfortable, then there is the possibilities of the development of the destinations. Because if a tourist is satisfied, a customer like the tourist is satisfied, then again and again he moves to the destination. Therefore, this is the first task that we may talk about the travel, and it needs the second level. We call it the generic production. And that is called the tourist coach, in which vehicle the tourist is travel that must be taken into the account. If a tourist doesn't travel properly, then there is difficulties. Although we talk the disadvantages of that system, the tourism sectors or the tourism sector will get a terrible setback. That you must keep in mind. So that the tourist coach must be well furnished, well to do. It must be. Then we are talking about a different, the another one that is called the level three in the tourism sector. We call it the seat baggage keeping. It comes under the part three. We call it the level three. Then we may talk about the level four, that is the augment period. And in the augment period, we must keep in mind, dear friends, the cash on the cushion seat in which the tourist travel, in which bus or the the tourist travels, at least he must felt what the cushion seat, then air conditioning, and then the extra baggage. Now coming to the next point, defense. Whenever we talk with the level 5, it deals with your extra facilities. And yes, it is the fact. I want to talk about, we are providing the knowledge to the students. Our discussion should not be on the basis of the bookage or what exactly the words is given, the mention. Then if yes, then the why the students should come. So therefore, this is my responsibility as a mean student friends. That is called at the level 5, we are getting what? Yeah, we are getting extra facilities with the rate and the Kiva. There is soft drinks, then commerce, commentary, toilet, facilitate in tourist as a means difference, fragment a product. But in this regard, we are talking about the tourism product that can be designed, and because of design is quite important. Nowadays, I am talking about design is quite important. Every product with a degree of the design, there is the more demands. And in the when we talk about the Bhubaneswar market, it may be the clothes of the boys or we talk with the girls. They all such march towards these places. So now question comes to difference when we are talking about the level 5. Yes, after the level 5, we must move. That is called product in a travel and tourism. So whenever we talk about the product in the travel and tourism, it is not mitigates monuments or the tourist destinations, or we talk about for your information, monuments, tourist destination, or in Delhi, also we have mentioned at Sitama. So now question comes, whenever we may talk about the product in the travel and tourism is difference. It may be defined as a package of the various components. Every tourist product has its own components. The tourist destinations may be large. The tourist destinations may be small. That is the matter. The matter is how far there is the large number, large scale of the tourists, whether influx or not influxes. So that must be taken care of. And in this regard, I'm talking about in travel and the tourism product may be defined as a package of various components. And it is the fact whenever we talk of the package, that then you can put here. And now going to discuss it has certain components, various components. Number one, destination attractions. If we talk about Puri as a destination, what is its most attraction? If we may talk about the religious tourism, the part is occurred because of in Odisha, in Odisha of India, I may talk about a difference. There are, in my thesis I have mentioned, there are near about 70 Buddhist centers, 60 to 40, we may talk the Jaina centers, then 67 of the Sakta centers. So I'm talking about these are the attractions in case of Odisha is concerned. And the most important thing is here difference when to talk of the destinations attractions is quite important. Therefore, Bhubaneswar is now going to be the capital hub, the modern hub. What at Rajmahal Square, particularly in the day night, there are yes difference. I'm talking about what? I'm talking about the destinations. Every destination has its own attractions. If you may talk about Puri exactly, I was discussing the more attraction was the Jagannath temple. And a group of scholars, they are more attraction towards the Jagannath Balabhadra Subhadra and move to the Ratnavati. But whenever we talk the destination of the attraction, it is varieties in number, it is varieties in action, because some tourist places or the decision of the cultural heritage that has been declared by the, as you mean, World Heritage Village by the UNESCO. Now, talking to destination facilities and the services. So, difference what the destination usually, particularly the tourist destination, usually facilities. And whenever we talk of the facilities can be studied or it comes under whether it is the drinking facilities was there or the road and communication is fine there, or we may talk about the yes, there are the different areas, facilities, health facilities. You may talk about the fulfillment of the basic needs, like we talk of the breakfast, we talk about the dinner, we talk about the day nights. So these are also considered the tourist product. And in this regard, we must say that destination facilities and the services. It is the fact difference. Whenever we are talking about the particular facilities, that we must keep in mind. That is, every destination has its own identity, I told. If it is the cultural destination, if it is the art destination, or we may talk about it is the destination of the ecotourism, or we may talk about the destination of the eco retreat, we may talk about the paintings, we may talk about the art architecture, we may talk about the sculptures. So that we must keep in mind, dear friends, we're talking about in the varieties of ways we came to know that in the varieties of ways we came to know that every tourist destination in all of the world is supplying the best facilities. At least a tourist must satisfy. This is the facilities we talk about. Facilities means the basic needs in which destination one can get, a tourist can get all sorts of the facilities. Then we may talk about the product in travel and we may talk about in the tourism. And the services, it is the fact that there are so many people and the varieties of the people are working particularly in each and every tourist destinations. And as a result, a tourist gets the varieties of the services. It may be the social service, it may be the educational service, it may be the political service, it may be the so the different kind of services that exactly we mean we are getting. And in this context, we see the accessibility of the destination. The destination must be properly located. Why? Unless and until the proper location, it creates jumble, it creates the panic, it creates unhygienic, and it creates so many vicissitudes. As a result, the tourism are not properly coming forward to look after it. And now going to discuss difference. Accessibility must be there, and accessibility not in the form of only the transportation. Accessibility also in the form of the tourism, in the form of the marketing achievements. Or and here we are talking about the difference, the images of the destination. Yes, when we are talking about the destination, that you must keep in mind, dear friends. Every destination has its own identity image and which is not reflected in any other destinations. So therefore, product plays a very important role, very cognizant role in the travel and the tourism. And then we're talking the images of the destination, then experience at the destination. It is the fact that every tourist, everybody gets the varieties of the offered of the we may talk about the experiences. It may be the best experiences, we are talking about it may be the egalitarian destinations, or may talk about the destinations. And experience is quite important because there must be the feedback system. Whether the tourist is satisfied, and that is the responsibility of what? Of whom? That is the responsibility of, suppose you are going to submit your paper. Okay. And in this regard, I'm talking about your friends' experience at the destination is both the sure and the sweet. Because whenever the tourist is satisfied, but talk about he or she gets the picture experiences, and when he is not getting the benefits, I talk about he is not satisfied, whether it is the international tourism or national tourism, or we talk about the regional tourism or the interregional tourism. So difference we must keep in mind in this context, that is images is quite important and it cannot be neglected. Now coming to the attitudes of the host and the local people, so difference that we must keep in mind, and it is a fact that is the responsibility. If you want to make the tourism industry more viable, or if you want to make the marketing system more vibration, yes, that the responsibility, the contributions, the legacies of the host as well as the local people. And in this regard, when to talk about the attitude be soothing attitude, the sober attitudes, and the stakeholders, to call the host or the destinations and the local people whom we call the stakeholders. The responsibility is not to create any kind of the panic, not to create any kind of the pains and kind of the troubles to the tourists. As a result, the tourist, it is the fact I want to talk about. The marketing system is adequate, the advertisement. And once a tourist is satisfied, he is more than the advertisement because he himself, the advertisement, whenever he returns to his destiny or the own destiny, he or she must suggest to his friends. Yes, if you want to go or visit on the month of March, April, then you may go to Bhubaneswar of Odisha, then go to Delhi, or may come to the capital city because it is the fact so in this regard, the local people, the host, they must be trained, they must be well behaved, they must possess the concept of the notions that is called Atithi Deva Bhava. If yes, if the local people consider the tourist in such angle, in such eye, then there is the possibilities we talk about product in travel and tourism is quite essential, and also it is important exactly what we mean. And another important thing is here difference that is called the price consumer. Yes, it is the backbone when to talk the price is concerned. Suppose a tourist product or a product of his day-to-day life is, we may talk about costly or more price. It may not reach at the consumers, it may not reach at the customers, and as a result, there the possibilities of to have the unrest, or to may talk about the sense of the dissatisfactions. For example, I may give. Suppose now in 2023, whenever we are coming to any tourist destinations in all over the world, and it is the fact that I go back to the 2000, 50 or 30 years back, what was the cost, what was the price of a ticket of any monuments or the heritage sites? Today, it is not there. But still then, when we talk about the entry fee, I'm giving the example of the Konark. In the Konark, the entry fee is 50 rupees for us and for 300 rupees for the Indians and for the 500 rupees to the foreigners. So now question comes, dear friends, whenever we talk of the price at Konark, its minimum starts with the 500 rupees. 100% sure, dear friends, at the Konark cannot be marketed properly because if I'm talking in all over the world, I'm talking about the statistics of the data point of view. 30%, 31, 32% of the population of India are educated, and the next 70% populations are there, 72. So in this context, we see the price to the consumer. Every consumer must aware about the price of the product, and unless and until once the price, once the product is revealed, then there is the lesser possibility to return it. As a result, the manager's responsibility is to look up to the price to the consumer. What price is imposed, that we must take into the account. So now, dear friends, we are going to discuss about the dividing product in tourism. We are going to discuss dividing products for the information, dear friends. Yes, we are talking about achievements. The friends, we are talking about what? We are talking about the dividing product in tourism. So product is not fixed. Product is, if I talk, the bottle is a product. I'm talking about first of all in the general concept of the product achievements. If in the 2023 in the market of India, if suppose there is the 200 or 300 varieties of the bottles, water containers, in 2023 it was multiplied. And if you may all over the India, we move to the different state as well as the central government libraries. No book yet being developed on the basis of no books. I think that is called the dividing product in tourism. And now, in this context, dear friends, when we are talking about the dividing the production in tourism is clearly different from the consumer products. And it is the fact when to talk about the biscuit is the consumer product. It is not the product of the, we may talk about the product of the tourism, as exactly we mean. Similarly, we may talk the soap, we may talk about the drinks, deos, food, and the many things. Because from the morning, I told, from the morning till the dusk, everyone is a product. Even if we people are the product of our fragrance. I'm a mapa pankara, I'm a product. We are talking about the product. So now question comes. Product is in tourism certainly different from the consumer's good. What consumer's good we may talk about it, the consumer's good exactly what he used in his day-to-day life. And why we may talk about the production needs to be hygiene. Suppose I gave the example in 20 years back of what the bottle used by us, now it is multitude. It is more technical, it is more elegant, it is more neat and clean. And in this context, dear friends, the biscuits, soft drinks, dress, deo, food, these are the products consumer needs regularly on the regular basis. And whenever we talk about the tourism, yes, exactly, we talk about In tourism, the transportation is needs to be devised. Why am I talking about it, friends? The transportation needs to be devised. Suppose a tourist from the international market reach out to Odisha or India, our responsibility is to extend the comfort, to extend the peace, to extend the soothing, all thing conditions that we must keep in mind. And whenever we talk the transportation in the tourism sector, that is another important feathers. Why I'm talking about it, friends? Here we're talking the transportation in 20, 40 years back. Even if in Odisha or in India, even in the different part of the world, like we talk of the South African countries, or we could talk about the countries of the Europe, or we could talk of the countries of the Far East, or we talk of the countries of the Southeast Asian countries. In all of the world, wherever we move, just 40 years back, yeah, 50 years back, just 60 or 70 years back, or when we talk about the 100 years back, if we go back to, for your information, dear friends, the transportation was in the form of rudimentary by approach. The road was not pakka, the road was the kacha road. So that the when we talk about the devising production in tourism, and in this context we must notice that is yes, that is called the accommodation. So accommodation is the part of the health and sanitation. Suppose a tourist visited to Cuttack, and it is the fact that এটি আমি দেখিবা যে I am ready to provide the best accommodation. So in this regard, we are talking about what? In this regard, we are talking about the transportation is required. From earlier, it was by the we might talk about the hair carrier. I'm not going to teach a tourist product for your information, dear friends. Any tourist product can be taken care of by the head. And the accommodation according to be the standard of the living of the people. It may be the inter-regional, the regional, or the national and the international. Whatever may be international or the international, that doesn't mean the cost being paid by the organization. And we are talking about the accommodation in form of the resorts, in form of the hotels, in form of the lodge, in form of we are talking about the guest houses in the form of the dormitories. So these are the means of we are talking about the accommodation. And the last but not the least, we are talking about the facilities dimension. The facilities at dimension. So, dear friends, we are going to discuss the another aspect that we may talk about. Michael M. Cutman theory of a product designing in tourism. And it is the fact that difference when we are talking about the tourism product or in the tourism industry, the product design must be newly, must be, must be in the eyes of the production orientation, market orientation, market segmentation, and besides, after the eating, we may talk about certain other factors need while designing a tourist products. So it is the fact when we are talking about the production orientation. Production orientation means exactly the travel in the tourism. A product is quite important. If the very simple to say the day the products are closed and there are the possibilities of the close of the market. So tourist product is a tourist orientation. That means the tourism product is what is exactly the tourism product can be studied on the basis of the market orientation. And it is the fact that on the social orientation, every tourist place there must be the proper and the sound social solidarity, the social divisions, the social cooperation. And in the other hand, we're talking about the societal orientation. Yes, every tourist destination makes someone, makes the individuals to be good because your future is that I'm talking about. And dear friends, the societal orientation means the group of the people, starting from the tourists, the marketing managers, the sailors, the marketing executives, the stakeholders, we might talk about the tour operators, the tour travel and management, as well as the director of the IIT team. So, in the many things are there difference in context to the societal orientation, and besides, there are certain other factors responsible to attend while designing the tourist product. Yes, the tourist product is not fixed, I have already told. The tourist product, dear friends, is designed to buy but talk about, keeping in view of the demands of the people, what 10 years back the clothes had the demand and not now. And what and it is the fact. It should not be. But sometimes we may say that if after you, then our fate should be like us. And it have data kita go to your friends. So the two things we're talking about. One is the carrying capacity of the destination, safety and the security, hygienic conditions, attitude of the host population, the government rules and the regulations, environment preservation and the conservation. And it is the fact that the Michael A. Cortland has rightly pointed out that theories of the product design in tourism. If a tourism product is there, how it can be designed. As a result, it can reach in a large scale at the different cost of the people, different yeah, so, keeping in view of the safety should be there. Every tourist destination there must the safety and the security. If any kind of the mishaps being happen, then immediately the electricity, immediately we met out the water carrier. So these are responsible. I'm talking with the carrying capacity of the different destination, then safety and security. Whenever we talk with the security right now, if we may talk with the whole world today indulge in the part of as it means the bombs metaphor, part of the instruments. And in this regard, I'm talking about the safety and the society. Safety and the security is required because if the state is more secured, I would like to give just example. In 2004-5, the India government didn't allow to go to play cricket in Africa because there was the life risk point of view. And in this regard, I'm talking about dear friends, a tourist destination having some the capacity and the destination. It needs the safety, nirapad, as means free from the doubts or free from the mishaps. And similarly, we may talk about the hygienic conditions. So always try that is the responsibility of the destination. We talk about the friends, the stakeholders that to look after the hygienic conditions, particularly if there is a large scale of the tourists are influx to a destination. Ultimately, what it requires, friends? Ultimately, it requires Ultimately, it requires the security and the safety, the free movement without any kind of the danger, any kind of the offense. And I'm talking the hygienic condition must be there because there the possibility the large number of the tourist influx to a particular destination, it makes the entire environment pollution. And also when to talk about the commons as well as the goals, they are also coming to outside when to talk about the one passage concern. And in such a many things are there. Therefore, every tourist destination must possess the hygienic conditions in form of the food, in form of the water, in form of the, we are talking about the health and sanitation. And attitude of the host people, host population achievements is the common people should not be neglected in the tourism marketing system. Not only in the tourism marketing system, but also in the system of the general, as you means the general. Yeah, I'm talking about attitude of the host people. So the common people, host people, as you means the common people who are not the we may talk about the host people in context to the tourism marketing, the host population, the host people, we may talk about the stakeholders, their attitude, their submissiveness, their behavior, their mannerism is quite essential. Why it is quite essential? Because the marketing industry, particularly in the tourism, it is dependent, it is actually oriented by the attitudes and the behavior. The behavior should be friendly, soothing, and holistic. And in the government rules and regulations, yes, that cannot be neglected, dear friends. Whenever we are talking about the tourist destination, once after selected or demarcated the destination, yes, the government passes certain rules through. If we talk about in case of India, there is the ITTC. In case of Odisha, there is the OTTC. Or when we talk about a department is there, a Department of Culture and the Tourism. So from time to time, keeping in view of the seasons, if we talk about Puri is not the seasonal, Puri is the destination of all season tourists of national, international, and intra-regional. All kinds of the tourists are visit to Puri because it is not the seasonal. And in the same case, we talk about the zoo, also part of the cultural heritage, as well as we're talking about the tourist destination or the tourist product. It is also throughout the year it attracts the tourists. But there is a, when to talk of the zoo, there is a season. In case of Odisha in India, that the season starts from the month of the November, December, January, and February, and by the end of March, the influx of the tourists, if I talk about in all over the tourist destination of Odisha, it's gradually declined, gradually strength. That's something which happened in case of India, in case of the world is concerned. Every destination has its own seasons. And similarly, from time to time, the government makes the rules and the regulations to monitor them for tourists, to supply the information to the tourists, and from time to time, the government make the rules and the regulations to extend the training to the local people regarding their role in marketing the tourist product. And now we are going to discuss the another way that is called the environmental preservation and the conservation. And it is the fact that environment is quite important. If a tourist doesn't get a proper environment or may talk the healthy environment, then there is a difficulties or too difficult to influx of the tourists. So therefore, there is the possibility the huge influx of the tourists leads to the environmental pollution, and therefore keeping in view of the demands of the tourists, the demands of the customers, the demands of the consumers, as you mean the stakeholders, or may talk about the local offices, the NGOs, the government takes the responsibilities, the rules that how to preserve, how to conserve the environment. And similarly, the last but not the least, we're talking about it, linkage with the local bodies and the host population. It is the fact that they are the core when to talk about the product is concerned. Why? I'm talking about it, friends. Just simple the example. Always in all over the world, not only in case of Odisha or India, in all over the world, we are talking about the responsibility of the host population. Always the marketing system is best on keeping in view of the target market. The target market is the demands, the suckers of the host population. So from that point of view, we are talking about these are certain parameters in context to what the Colton, Michael Colton, defined the theories regarding the product designing in tourism. Now, I'm going to discuss, dear friends, the another aspects that we are going to discuss. That is called that is called the pricing strategy. And it is the fact that when we are talking about the pricing strategy, that we must keep in mind, dear friends. Price exactly we mean it is quite important. Also, it cannot be neglected. Why? For the information, dear friends, price determines the production of the tourism. That you must keep in mind. And it is the fact when we talk of the price is play a very important role. Why I talk about it? Always the price within the customer's purviews. Always the price of the costing within the tourist concerns. If suppose we are talking about the tourism is based on the packages, we are talking the tour and packages. For your information, if the tour operators demand to a destiny and its cost is 10 times of the local destinations, So at the meantime, the tourist may not agree to move that. And always the price must be taken into the account, keeping in view of the target market and to see the economic standard, the revenue collections of the regions. If you are talking about the village areas in all over the world, there are the, as you means, the rural tourism, or we may talk about the agricultural tourism development. And in this context, we are talking about the strategy or pricing strategy is important. We must determine in this context, determine the key pricing policy. The price should mitigate the millions, mitigates the highest populations of a society or a state achievements. And this is the first objective regarding the price strategy. And that is also the purview of the marketing managers. Or you may talk with the deputy managers, marketing managers, the sales executives. When they're selling the product at the meantime, they are collecting the data and the information regarding the satisfaction of the price of the cost. If I'm giving the example, A is a tourist and A demands a product like the shampoo. If the cost of the shampoo of I'm talking about your friends, that is called the Vatika. If the cost of the Vatika shampoo is 1,000, then it is difficult to sell in the market because always in all over the world there is the host or the large number of the stakeholders, the commons are the biggest market. So therefore, always before going to produce the pricing the product, it must be kept in the mind that is the determining key pricing policy. Every company, every organizer, the marketing managers must have that knowledge just before going to sell the product in the market and more concerns of the price and the cost. And the second objective, as you mentioned, friends, understand the factors affecting the demand for the products. Yes, you may talk about in all over the world, even if it may be in the European nations, or may talk about the South African countries, or you may talk about in the Southeast Asian countries, everywhere or the Far East. Everywhere we see that each and every product is not having the equal demands. Because I'm talking about the factors affecting the demand for products at different prices. And another, the objective price as the factor to influence the travel also. Suppose a tourist want to travel, and it is the fact that to whom we may call the tourists. A tourist of the regional, inter-regional, national, and international. And it is the fact that when a tourist wants to visit to a destination, if the tour operators demand more price, then also it affects to the travel. It influences to the travel. So therefore, the marketing agencies, the marketing managers, his prime task is to look after the demands of the people, and according to the demands of the people, the price is fixed, the price is extended. That you must keep in mind, dear friends. Understand our pricing, another objective. Our pricing can be used as a tool to achieve the marketing objectives. Yes, it is the fact that every market in all over the world, there are the competitions. What kind of the competitions? Healthy competitions as well as the unhealthy competitions. And when to talk about the marketing objective, it is important because price can be determined the marketing processes, and the price also become the constraint to the selling of the product. It may be the what is the tourism product, or we may talk about the individual's day to the product or the product which fulfills the basic needs of the mankind. So now, dear friends, we are going to discuss in context to it regarding the pricing strategy. Yes, we must say that price is one of the most pertinent tool of the marketing. And why I'm talking to it? Always the marketing managers foresight is taken into the account that whether the purse is filled with are not failed with. And it is the fact if the price is within within the purview, within the income, earnings of the tourist, or we may talk the customers or the consumers, yes, then there is the possibilities of the marketing of the goods. Why? Just I'm giving the examples. If people sit down to talk about in all over the world a production like the Louis Philippe is the clothes production, as means I'm giving the example. So production of the Louis Philippe is more cost than the other clothes. And sometimes it is noticed, I'm just giving the example in context to the capital city Odisha of India. There is the very practical examples of the experiences what I have been gathered over there. There, the few customers, selected customers, are coming to that showroom to have the Louis Philippe clothes. And there, sometimes it is happen the price due to the price constraint, the large number of the people are not coming, not visiting to that stall, to that mall, to that shop. In contrary, go to the big bazaars or may talk about any other malls. There is the huge amount of the influx of the people, the tourists. It is because of what their the price is reaching. There, the price is reaching to the commons like the visuals in case of India is concerned. And therefore, we talk of the price is most pertinent tool, instrument of the marketing system, and it helps to promotion of tourism as well as the product for basic needs. Yes, it is the fact we all have the needs. And from I told in the beginning, the friends, there are the varieties of the products, and each and every product has its own identity, has its own utility, has its own satisfactions, has its own values. So in this regard, difference, the price also helps not only to determine the marketing system, but also it helps the promotion of the tourism. And it is the fact that, dear friends, when we talk about the tourism, yes, if you may talk about in case of India, no, in case of Odisha too, there are so many tourist destinations, but all the destinations yet not well developed, well equipped, or it is yet not well attracted. It is not well attracted only because of the price constraint. And due to the price, due to the cost, the people they are not coming to that destinations. So from that point of view, we must keep in mind we must keep in mind, friends, price also promoted to the tourism industry, facilitated to the tourism industry. And the another aspect such means it plays a vital role when we are talking about the marketing message consent. And here marketing managers should be aware that price conveys something to the customer about the nature of the product. So friends, we're talking about it. That is the responsibility, the jurisdictions of the market manager. What is that? He must be aware because that is his jurisdictions and it comes through the research. We are talking about the marketing research. He must aware about the price and how far there is the price is high, there is the lesser selling of the product. And if the price is less, there is the possibilities of the highest marketing of the product. So in this regard, if we talk about the price is play a very most determinant determinant role as well as both in the marketing as well as in the tourism marketing consent. So now, dear friends, we are talking about the another aspects like uh, understanding the values. Regarding this, we are talking about the pricing strategies. We discuss about the values because it is important in a context to it. So now difference value means what? It is the central character of the marketing mix. For example, every product has its own value. How to say? Every tourism destination has its own values. How to say? For example, dear friends, Whenever we talk about the Konark in case of Odisha is concerned of India, so Konark has its own values because the different kinds of the scholars, different kind of the tourists, different kind of the customers, the consumers, that influx at Konark. Some taken into the account of the Konark as the economic benefits, the economic aspects of the state, economic aspects of the people. And in the other hand, a group of people they want to see Konark in the eyes of the trade relations with South Africa. Because if we may talk about the wall, the left side of the wall of the Konark, there is the picture of the giraffe. And it is a fact difference. What it symbolizes? It symbolizes the Konark is the product of the 13th century AD. I mean, 700 years back, Konark was completed under the leadership of the Vishnu Maharana and 1200 masters, the architect, the sculptures, and under the guidance of the Langla Narsinghdev. And just I'm talking about 700 years back, there was the trade relationship with the South Africa because the Kalingans had the relations. And I'm talking about it. That is the values of the monarch. The same thing is not appeared at the Magheshwar temple or any other monuments. So therefore, dear friends, in the market mix when we talk about every product has its own values. For example, if I may give an example, that is called the pot of painting of Ragurajpur of Odisha of India. What we see, though there is the painting starting from 1 rupee to 5 lakhs, and that painting is produced by the artisans of the Ragurajpur. I'm talking about what? Talking about the values. And the price is the concept of a value for generally understanding. Price is the concept of the values. People are thinking that this product has the good values. This good values means the good price. But it is the fact that in two sense the value is not it is one of the eternal aspects of the marketing in tourism. Why I'm talking about what? Talking about it? Because value is the eternal aspects. We may call it the aesthetic values. We may talk about the florage and the faunage values. We may talk about the social values. We may talk about the economic values, the political values. We may talk of the religious values. So when we talk about the values of your friends, it is not exactly the price. It's an every product has its own values as far as its utility is concerned. And the difference in this concern in this regard, we're talking about the researcher like the Jethal. He has pointed out that values has expressed for broad expression. Means value is low price. Whenever we talk value is low price, then value is whatever I want in a product, and the value is the quality. I got it, I get for the price I pay, and value is what I get for what I give. So in this regard, when to talk of the value sometimes cannot be purchased in the eyes of the price, in the eyes of the, we may talk about the price, or we may talk about the money achievements. Value is sometimes beyond of it. It may be going to talk the product having a small price, but its value is more. Therefore, value is low price. Value is whatever I want in a product. Suppose a product I'm talking about 1 rupee, the pata painting of Odisha, sold by the artisans to the tourists. It may be 1 rupee as far as its product is concerned, but the aesthetic values of 1 rupee product pata painting contains the image of the Krishna, the image of the Rama. And in this regard, the difference I'm talking about maybe sometimes the value and the cost, there is the class between it. And therefore, we are talking about the value is whatever I want in a product. And the same way we are talking about This is called about the values difference. Now coming to understanding the cost. Like the we are talking about the price, values, and the cost. Understanding cost, we must keep in mind, dear friends, it is also a determinant to understand the market mix. The task of the marketing manager is to understand the capacity of the customer, that at what extent he or she is ready to afford the cost to buy the product. And it is the fact. In the last class, I had given the example. Also, I would like to repeat it. Whenever we talk about the AME product, it is acclaimed in all over the India, more particularly in the European state. So, taking into the consideration of the toothpaste, if we are talking about the AME toothpaste like the Glister, its cost is 300 rupees. But in the other hand, in the market, in substitute of the Glister, in the market there are the so many toothpastes. And it's a cost is 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 60 rupees, 70 rupees. And in this regard, we may keep in mind that the glister is not more accompanied, not we may talk about used at the demand by the target markets. And therefore, we may talk about the task of the marketing manager is to understand the capacity of the customers. So that we must keep in mind just before going to the production house by the entrepreneurs. He must look after the capacity of the customer. He must look after the economic standard of the customer, the consumers, and what extent he or she is ready to afford the cost to buy the product. And similarly, in the same, it also appeared in the tourism marketing. Not only in the production, not only the product which is used day by day, when you talk about your friends, the customers in his day-to-day life, the same thing happened in the tourism industry. Always the tourist product must, keeping in view of that the tourist strength, the tourist's capacity, the tourist financial conditions, that we must keep in mind, it cannot be neglected. So there are several costs involved in the tourism sector by which a tourist may avail the pleasure of the tourism. And if in the tourism the cost is a constraint, then tourism cannot be the pleasurable one. That we must keep in mind. And in this regard, I'm talking to dear friends. There are a certain costs in the context of the tourism. One thing we are going to discuss, the friends, that is, I'm talking about the monetary cost, the opportunity cost, the physical cost, then the sensory costs, and the site cost. So these are the certain costs used in the tourism sectors. And for your information to your friends, whenever we may talk about the monetary cost, that we must keep in mind, it involves the actual rupee value spent on getting benefits of tourism. And suppose I am coming to the Puri, I am coming to any destinations of the world. At the meantime, a tourist must keep in mind and he is aware about what? About what benefit he is going to have it and at what cost. And that must be keeping in mind. So every tourist or the consumer wants. They want to more pleasure, they want more benefits, they want more utility with the less, I'm talking about the less application of the money. So that is called the monetary cost. And this is often referred to as a price paid and expressed in a rupee term. What the money? Very simple to say, dear friends. Whenever we're talking about the money, cost is depend on the satisfactions of the tourists, satisfactions of the customers, that we must keep in mind, dear friends. If a tourist is more satisfied on a tourist product, then there is the possibilities of the more spending of the money. And we are talking about the That is called the monetary cost. Similarly, dear friends, we're talking about the another one is the opportunity cost. And when we talk about the opportunity cost, it depends on the time. Opportunity cost can be determined, dear friends, on the basis of the time. So time is a valuable commodity for each and every people, particularly all over the world. We are talking about it. Time is a more valuable commodity for most people, and one which always has a fixed upper limit for each individual. And it is the fact that each and every individual has its own time bound, and every customer is bound with the time. And in this context, in addition, spending time for tourism involves on the opportunity cost and the cost of the values lost had the time spent in tourism being spent in alternative gainful activity. I'm talking about suppose we're coming to any tourist destinations and what are the money we are spending. Suppose we are coming to the Konark, just I paid 50 rupees. Or no, I'm talking about a better example of the what is Ramoji Film City in Hyderabad of India. So that is a tourist destination, and inside there is the opportunity cost. That means the people are getting more opportunities, and they're spending the money. We're talking about the opportunity cost, and that opportunity cost is able by I'm talking about the time. Then we may talk about the difference, the physical efforts. Also, we may talk about it is another part of the cost in tourism. To quite a lot of people, the physical efforts entailed in getting out of their established life patterns to travel and be aware is I'm talking about the substantial cost, the physical efforts, otherwise known as the substantial cost, and also the sensory cost, as it means the psych cost. So these are also responsible when we are talking about the cost in tourism is concerned. And now we are going to discuss the another aspects, dear friends, that is called the promotion strategy. So, for your information, dear friends, we are going to discuss about the promotion strategies. Very simple to say, dear friends. Promotion strategy also quite important. It is quite felt, quite required when to talk about the facilitation of the tourism marketing is concerned. And in this regard, dear friends, we are talking about what? We are talking about the promotion strategy. So in this context, dear friends, we are going to highlight some areas because unless and until to promote the maybe the tourist destinations, some might talk about the product. Because every product has its own target. Every destination has its own target in all over the world. And how to achieve that target? How to achieve that goal? That achieve the target can be achieved through certain promotional strategy. How to promote the product? If you may talk about simple example, I may give the press before you people. What is that? That is, I'm talking about the product like the Ruchi. When to talk with the spices is concerned, everybody knows in that is in last year, the Bali Jatra of Cuttack of Odisha of India got the Guinness Book of World Record because it is the world's the largest open trading market. Not only in the Southeast Asian countries, it is in all over the world. Question comes. In the Bali Jatra of Kottaka, mean there are so many stalls, the traders, the entrepreneurs, they had opened up their stalls. I'm talking about the market promotion strategy. Simple example. To keeping in view of the SACOs of the people, SACOs of the tourists, the SACOs of the stakeholders. Suppose a product like the ice cream, I'm talking about it. In Balijatra, there is buy one, get one. If we talk about the spice like the Ruchi Masala, there is the buy one, get one. So this is the strategy of the promotion. And in this context difference, we are talking about the basic purpose of the communication in the promotion. And in the promotional strategy, communication play a very vital role, a very cognizant role. Because communication, there we may talk about the NEP 2020, the government of India emphasized on the communications in the educational sector. And similarly, in the business sector, in the marketing sector, communication also quite important to promote the tourist destination, to promote the product for the basic needs of the mankind, for the servitudes of the mankind. And second, understand the basic elements of the promotional mix. The basic elements through it we are getting. The next one, identifying the various types of the promotional strategies. So every country has its own strategy. Every entrepreneur has its own strategy. Every marketing manager has its own strategy. So because they want how to reach to the target audience, to the target market, we may talk the stakeholders or we may talk of the tourists too, and how the marketers budget for promotion. That is important thing also. So budget also required for the promotion. It comes through the different means. Maybe the electronics medias, maybe the printing medias, maybe the advertisement through the celebrities, or we may talk about the people with the high eminence and understand the promotional campaigns. So, keeping in view of these objectives, we are going to discuss about the promotional strategies. Now, coming to dear friends, the next one, the promotion strategy is quite responsible for the promotion of the market mix. If, for your information, dear friends, for your information, if the promotion strategy is quite responsible, I'm talking about for the promotion of the market mix, and here the tourism business is dependent on the appropriate promotion strategy. Means there is the possibilities of the promotion of the goods or the products which means or the destinations. The destination can be marketed by the marketeers, by we may talk about the tour operators, or we may talk about the government policy to the government policies, we may talk the local bodies, or we may talk about the NCOs too. So we are talking about when there is a tourism business and the tourism transaction is dependent on the appropriate promotion strategy. Because once a tourist gets the wrong information, then there is the difficult, there is the what we may talk about that wrong information cripples, affects to the system of the tourism business process. Next, we may talk the idea is to stimulate or to motivate the target customers into purchasing the product. And that I'm talking about it, dear friends. The promotional strategy also motivate, stimulate. If you may talk about the Bali that I had been to, that is my experience in Bukatak. I noticed that how far the customers they are motivated, march towards the different stalls like we talk the ruchis, we talk about the ice creams parlors like this. So this is all about the concept, dear friends, regarding the marketing strategy. Now coming to communication as the means of the promotion. So, dear friends, whenever we talk about a product needs to promote. That you must keep in mind, dear friends. Yes, I'm talking about promotion as a communication or communication as the means of the promotion. So, I'm talking about what? The product or the service. Promotion is carried through the communication. And we see that the communication can be taken care of. That is called advertisement. What I told exactly. Because advertisement can reach to the highest or the target customers or advertisement through advertisement a large scale of the people in the society in the state they are tuned off, they are in contact with the benefits, and we may talk about the utility, and we may talk about its attractions, the core areas, the values, and also its price. It can be advertised through the audience, through the electronics media, through the social media, and also we talk the printing media. So now, in all over the world, when we talk about the newspapers or the electronics media, even if during the time of the games, it is happen, the cricket World Cup, every second, whenever there is the over, um, is what do I talk the time of over may say in between that advertisement. So in all over the world, every country now are putting the stress, they're putting their the time, the efforts to make advertisement more valid, more viable, more active. So advertisement is the means through which I'm talking about your friends. It is exactly like told the advertisement, the printing and the broadcast words, the packaging out packaging in sorts. Then we talk of the motion pictures, brochures, and the booklets, similar the posters and the leaflets. I'm talking about the directories, the reprints of arts, bills, boards, the display signs, the point of the purchase, the displays, audiovisual materials. We might talk about the symbols and the logos. These are the areas we talk about the elements through which I'm talking about a product or the tourist destination can be reached at the target customers or we may talk about the consumers. And similarly, we may talk about the sales promotions. That is another part. Exactly, we may talk about it, friends. It comes. The second one is direct marketing. I'm talking to the direct marketing. And when to talk of the direct marketing, we may keep in mind the catalogs, the mailings, the telemarketings, electronic shoppings, and the TV shoppings. So these are the means through which these are the means of the communications. As a result, there is a bridge, there is a bond, there is a being developed, a unity being developed between the product as well as the customers. And we talk about the tourist product or the destinations with the tourists. Similarly, the third one, we are talking about the sales promotions. It is another means of the communication through which the good or the product is marketed from one to another. So it contains certain areas like we talk about the contests, games. We are talking about substacks, the lotteries, the premiums, and I'm talking about the gifts, the samplings, the PRs, and the trade shows, exhibitions. I'm talking the demonstrations, the couplings. We are talking about the debates, the low interest, the financing, entertainment, trade in the allowances, trade stamps, and the times. So, difference, these are the means when to talk about the shelf promotion I'm talking to. It is part of the communications, and through it, the products are marketed, promoted. Now, coming to the public relations. In the public relations, yes, we must keep in mind, dear friends, that is called the press kits, the speeches, the seminars, the annual reports. I'm talking about the charitables, the donations. So we are talking about sponsorships, the publications, the community. We are talking the relations, lobbyings, identity media, company magazines, events. These through it, we people can reach to the public relations I'm talking about through it. The product can be reached at the public sectors, and also it is targeted to the upper stratas of the society. And last but not the least, the personal selling is the means of the communications. That in this context, dear friends, the sales presentations, the sales meetings. Sometimes you notice that when to talk about the different products, like the Moage productions, we talk about the boutique care productions and the herbal productions, the entrepreneurs or the companies or better the produce houses, they are making the varieties of the sales representations, sales meetings from day to day time, incentives also given to them, the programs, samples, PRs, and the trade source. So it was the means, we are talking about the communications. at the means of the promotion. So now coming to difference one to talk about the advertising, particularly advertising is the process achievements. Whenever we talk about the advertising, it is a process. So because when to talk of the promotion of the goods is not an accidental, that always we must keep in mind, dear friends. Advertising, it is a process and it generally involves in four elements that we must keep in mind, dear friends. Advertising, keeping in view of advertising, dear friends, I'm talking about advertising uh, process like another communications, and it involves that you must keep in mind the four major elements. One is the senders. The second one, we talk about the message. The third one is the channel. And the fourth one I'm talking about, the fourth one is the receivers. And dear friends, whenever we talk about it, we're talking about what? Yes, dear friends, we are talking about the sender. That we must keep in mind, dear friends. Sender is the organization, as you mean, in the marketing system or in the market mix. Sender is the organization or party which wants to communicate some messages related to its products. That I'm talking about the senders. Sometimes in today, if I talk about the social media is the biggest and the largest sender now. And in this regard, I'm talking about what the sender sends. The sender communicates. It is, in my talk about in India, for your information, dear friends. Not only in India, in all over the world, I'm talking about many companies, they're sending the messages. I'm talking about as a sender. They send what? The sender is the organization achievements. What he sends, he wants to communicate some message related to its product, its utility, its longevity, its price, its values, its importance, to whom? To the customers. And for your information, every company, every organization has its own target customers, and at any cost, they must purchase the good. If simple example I'm giving, in all over the world, a group, a category of the people, the customers, the stakeholders are there. Suppose I'm talking to the Louis Philippe as a brand, as a company. There is a mindset of the people to purchase that product only because there is the possibilities of the development of the sarcoge, the human sarcoge. And therefore, the sender sends, communicates to the customer regarding the product. And sender, of course, is an advertiser. We may talk about it. Here, the sender is an advertiser. But in advertisement, the spokesperson is sender. And a spokesperson can be a model, a character, or we may talk about a celebrity. Therefore, it is happened when we talk about the Fair and Lovely. It is advertised by the celebrity, like we talk about in case of India, is a concern. He is Shah Rukh Khan, the hero, as it means the hero or the celebrity of eminence. And similarly, dear friends, I'm talking about the advertisement needs to be effective. If the advertisement is poor, there is the impact of the production, and it affects to the production if the advertisement is not effective. And that another important thing is included here, difference that may talk about the needs right of the spokesperson. That is important. Through whom one can advertise, organization can advertise. Therefore, it may talk about in all over the world. It may be any companies, any organizations, which means they are presenting the celebrities because the celebrities has each and every celebrity has its own target market. And similarly, I'm talking about there are three requirements of any vendor, any spokesperson. What is that? The spokesperson must be trustworthiness. Then we may talk of the attractiveness. And the third one is expertise. It is the factor, dear friends. Whenever we talk about the communication, is the most important thing is here. It has happened. We people have been noticed in the malls, in the marketing system. What is that? That is who speaks well, who is expert in communications. Then he is ready. He could sell the product fast in comparison to others. And similarly, I'm talking about the difference, like the sender. Yes, we must keep in mind the advertisement here must be effective and it needs right spokespersons. And here, I'm talking about the spokesperson. The sender must be trusted, must be attractive, as well as the expertise in his own field. I'm talking with the message, dear friends, another part of the advertisement. And in context to the message, as you know, it is the print media advertisement. So message is the print media advertisement is copy. Advertisements is copy, and it involves the lines, the sub lines. We're talking about the copy text, and this message is supported by the visuals. We may talk about the printing medias, or we may talk about the audio visuals, like we may talk about the TV channels. So sometimes when a product is advertised in the televisions and also in the printed media, it is happening all over the all over the what to say world. In the marketing strategy, it is another important aspect. If the printing media, the message is well captioned, if the media is well chart or well designed, it attracts more, or it could easily targeted the more audiences, as you mentioned, the customers. So message is required, dear friends, like the messengers we are talking of the channels. And in this regard, dear friends, when we are talking about the channel, channel is the media, okay, that is used for the transmitting the message. So channel is a means. I'm talking about the tools, the instrument through which the message can be, the communication can be transmitted one place to another place. Therefore, channel is used for transmitting the message, sharing the message. And in this context, dear friends, in this context, I'm talking to the channel media used for advertising. For example, printed media, that is called the newspapers, the magazines, I'm talking about the handbills. Similarly, the broadcast media, the TV, television, me, the radios, cinemas, and we talk the slides. The auto media, we are talking about the hoarding, the billboards, wall, roof paintings, and I'm talking the transist media, like talking about the bows, the rail panels, the skywriting. So I talk about the balloons, and it has happened in all over the world. That concept is going in the skywriting, or we're talking about the balloons. The big balloons are flying at the height, and it highlights the or it advertise any product as means. We talk about the companies, and similarly, difference, another last but not the least, I'm talking about POV, point of the purchase. It needs to the cutouts, the posters, dummies, soft signs, and window displays. So these are the process difference. We're talking about the channels, and similarly the receiver. Who is the receiver? The receiver is the tourist. The receiver is the target customers. The receiver is the consumers who is to be informed, to be persuaded by the product. That you must keep in mind, dear friends. So receiver gets all the above, the message, through the proper channels by the proper senders. Then ultimately the receiver is well convinced. And once the receiver is convinced, then there is the easy, there is easy when to talk about, to purchase the good or to reach at the destination. When to talk about the tourist destination is concerned. Now, dear friends, we are going to discuss another aspects that is called the publications. So, dear friends, whenever we may talk about the publication is another aspects. regarding I'm talking about the promotion strategies. It is we call. And whenever we talk about the public relations, that is known as the PR. In a broader sense, we talk about the publicity. So it is a concept which includes the publicity. Earlier marketers were using the term publicity. So just before the promotion strategies means in all over the world, the marketeers, they were using the term publicity. But if I talk about it today, it is replaced by the public relations. And now question comes. Whenever we talk about the public relations, is different. Public relations are deliberate, the planned, sustained activities of an organization to develop and to maintain relations with the public of the organization. So that I'm talking about the public relations. And the public relations responsibility is to maintain, to develop and maintain the good relations with the local bodies, good relations with the public sectors, good relations with the organizations. If there is good relations, I'm talking the public relations, yes, that there is the possibilities of the large scale of the product, that the possibilities of the large scale of the circulations of the messages, the values, the ideas about the tourist destinations. And therefore, we may talk about every organization. Every organization has the varieties of the groups, as means, particularly the two groups, internal and external groups, and which have an actual potential interest in the organization. When we talk about the external groups and the internal groups, means we were talking about in the public of the travel agencies. Whenever we talk, give an example, the publics of the travel agencies, internal groups where the employees, the shareholders, the managers, trade union, and in the external field, we may talk about the alliance, we may talk about the tour operators, the corporate clients, the individual customers, or we're talking about the destinations, the event managers, the transporters, the government, ITDC, we may talk about the OTDC, the media personnel, and the hoteliers. These were the external personnel through it. This is the part of the public relations. The public relation is two. One is the internal and external. And in the external, when to talk with the hoteliers, they attract the tourists because of by selling their best dishes, by selling their best productions. We may talk about to satisfy, to mitigate the needs, the demands of the customers. And if I talk about the difference, the public, particular I'm talking about, the publics of the airlines. Also, there is the two kinds of the personnels are working. That is called the air crews, we talk the grand crews, the managers. We're talking about the shareholders. Similar difference I'm talking about in the external, we're talking about the travel agencies. The same we're talking with the tour operators, the suppliers, like the fuel and the food and the fuel, the government, the media, the competitors, the hoteliers, the destination organizations, the corporate clients, the individual customers, that we're talking about it. And similarly, difference we're talking about. In this context, the public relation is quite important. It cannot be neglected in promotion of the that we may talk about the difference in promotion of the as promotion of the goods through the promotion strategies. So now the another aspects we are going to discuss that is important. We are talking about the fifth P, people, process, and the physical evidences. So now going to discuss about the friends. We are going to discuss about the fifth P concept. So question comes when we are talking about the fifth P. Because in tourism sector, there is the fourth P already used. I'm talking about the fifth P that is considered the people, process, and the physical evidences. Promotion, we are talking about the proper promotion, then the people, Then, dear friends, we are talking about another the tools, and the physical evidence is in recently it is added physical evidences. So, question comes uh, regarding the 50p. We are talking about to understand why the 50p is required. Whenever we talk about the fourth P in the tourism was there, was it insufficient? Or if it was sufficient, why the necessity of the fifth P? Or if it was inadequate, then yes, we must say that there is the necessity of the fifth P. So therefore, I'm talking about to understand why the fifth P is required. In this regard, the first objective, that is the requirement of the fifth P in the tourism marketing. Tourism can be possible to reach at the target customers, at the target uh, stakeholders, such means. And the second one, to understand the relevance of the 50p with the customer satisfaction. Because customer satisfaction, the tourist satisfaction is the backbone of the marketing mix. If the tourist is not satisfied, if the customer is not satisfied, the consumer is not satisfied, there is the difficulties to promote a product. So therefore, the understand the relevance of the 50p with the customer's target, that is must keep in mind your friends. And another one, last but not the least, we see the design strategy to make the best use of the 50p in tourism marketing. And now question comes, keeping in view of this, we are going to discuss about the what is the 50p. And in this context, dear friends, I'm talking to uh, in context to India's immense dear friends, not only in context to India, in context to the world. There are fourth P's which are already used. Just talk about just 4 5 years back, in all over the world there was the application of the fourth P. What are the fourth P's? What are the fourth P's? First one is the product. The product should keep its value. The product should be best in quality rather the quantity. I'm talking about P1. P2, P1 is relating to the product. P2, the price. If the price is a cost, it couldn't reach, it couldn't mitigate the demand, the goal, the target of the organizations. So price should be determined, price should be fixed, keeping in view what the customers want, what the market wants, what the tourist wants. So that if the tour operators or the tour packers, they are making the high package, if its price is cost beyond the paying capacity of the customers. So at the meantime, the destination cannot be improved. And similarly, this is the second P, I'm talking about the price. The third one is I'm talking about the promotion. Yes, dear friends, in all over the world, there are so many tourism places, tourism destinations are there. But lack of the proper promotion, that destinations are yet not coming to the limelight. Very simple to talk. I would like to give an example. In context to Odisha particularly, as far as my PhD is concerned, if people might have been gone through the Swadganga channel, the Swadganga website, yes, I'm talking about the website. You could able to find out my doctorate thesis. And there I have given the latest tourist destinations of Odisha of India. But you can believe due to the lack of promotions, the tourist places, the tourist destinations till now are not achieved the metrics of the tourists. Why? Because of the lack of a promotion. And that lack of a promotion also determined difference. There is the role of the government. That is the role of the government policies. That the role of the advertisement. There is also the role of the, I'm talking about your friends, the stakeholders. The local people are not yet aware about their local products. I'm talking the promotion is the third one, and the fourth P is the place. So, what is the significance of the place? It is also keeping in mind. or it must be taken into the mind. So place in the context of the marketing of the services. So in the context of the marketing of the services, it may be the tourism marketing or the marketing in a general through which the goods or the products are sold in the market. And the traditional mix has been derived from a much longer list of 12 variables designed by the Harvard School of the Business. If you may talk about the Harvard School of the Business research, that means so there is the 12 variables through which the marketing mix or the marketing system is being matured as means. And therefore, difference we're talking about what we're talking about regarding the role of the fifth P. Why do we need the fifth P? So marketing mix, it must keep in mind, friends. The marketing mix represents all the factors. It may be the primary, it may be the secondary, it may be the elementary, it may be the tertiary factors that need to be considered while determining the marketing strategy. So everything is required by the marketing managers that to promote the strategy, to promote the planning, how to sell the product, how to market the product, keeping in view of the large scale or the target market as exactly we talk about it. And if people say that the choices of the marketing strategy generally depends upon the organization's policies and the objective heritage. And it is the fact that unless and until to keep in the setting goals, the setting target, the setting objectives, the marketing mix cannot be properly fulfilled, properly worked. Therefore, we are talking about the marketing mix means it needs the amount of attention directed to, as exactly we mean difference, how the marketing mix can be reached at millions of the tourists who may talk with the customers. And it can be through the fifth P. I'm talking about in tourism marketing, the main objective, what exactly people have gone through in our previous classes. What is that? In the tourism marketing, we have gone through the main objective is to motivate more and more people to visit the different places. How to motivate? We people can motivate through the different channels, through the different means, through the different mediums, through the different advertisements, through the different channels, and thereby enhancing the image of the locations. I'm talking about 50p physical process, evidence. Where if people can't believe, it is my experience, personal experience, I'm talking to. The fifth P, why is required in tourism marketing? The fifth P is required because the location, destination needs to be properly demarcated. And the tourist must get the ideas, must get the knowledge about the distance, about the sightseeing, about the facilities, from the township to the tourist destination. So in this regard, dear friends, I'm talking about a product in tourism is the place of destination. The place of destination is known as the product in tourism, and what one may exercise while proceeding to visit and or while visiting in the particular place. For example, I'm giving that to Madurai or the Taj Mahal in Agra or the Himalayan backdrop in the Darjeeling. So any place you may talk about in all over the world, a tourist wants just before to he just look after. He is going through the YouTube, he is going through the Google Map, he is going through the different medias, different advertisements, and that is I'm talking about the physical evidence. Whether the place sometimes it has happened. In YouTube, it might have been noticed the destination, and whenever the tourist plan to go there, and ultimately he's reaching and not find anything. So from that point of view, physical evidence is quite important. And in tourism marketing, very simple to say, dear friends, in tourism marketing are some services like the providing information to tourists may be government sponsored, or we may talk about the private sectors, or we are talking about the through the NGOs. So for your information, dear friends, whenever we may talk about the 50P is in this regard quite important. And most important thing is here, dear friends, whenever we may talk about the types of physical evidences, yes, it can be studied under tools that will talk about the essential and the peripheral. And in the sometimes we're talking about the sheets, commitment, the cleanness, communications, crisis handling, creativity, customer involvements. So besides 5 P's, a page, or that we may talk about the 50 P's, these are also the we may talk about some C's, dear friends, and it is all about the our the market mix. And whenever we talk about the marketing mix defense, it is one of the important parameters of the tourism marketing. And we ultimately came to know that the marketing mix is the combination of the magnitudes, parameters that we may talk about your product designing, the pricing strategies, assuming the promotion strategies, distribution strategies, and ultimately the application of the 50P. All these parameters make the marketing mix into a great success. Today it was all about the marketing mix, and thank you to our friends for your patience hearing. Thank you. Hello, hello, Santosh sir. Hello.